Good day, Grumpy Baker fans. Today we're going to make a bread that is somewhat healthier, but in its own way. Okay, we still need to use all-purpose flour with the 12-grain flour and all the seeds because it needs something to hold it up. If you use just seeds and millet and rye flour, it would collapse because it's not solid enough to create a loaf. Anyway, so we're going to get to it. We need exactly 1.5 cups of water, warm water. Okay, I usually get a bit more just in case. And the yeast, okay? The yeast is 2 teaspoons of yeast. Same as all the other breads. You put it in, let it ferment for a minute or two. And while it's doing that, I'd like to make a little comment. I've been looking on the internet, looking at things, and women, young women, you women have to stop degrading yourself. Okay? There's nothing wrong with showing how pretty you are or how you're built. But, spreading your legs and showing your boobs and showing your ass, in my day, that would be asking for trouble. Okay? Now, all the women, I'm not saying all the women, but the women that do it, come on. Really? That's how you want to get views in your life? That's how you view yourself? How about a little common sense? Okay? Anyways, back to the bread. So the yeast is now started to foam, and that's what you want. It only takes a couple of minutes. So now you can add all the rest of the stuff for this bread. So that is how it works. And it comes out to 2 1/3 cups of white flour, all purpose. Okay. 1 2/3 of 12-grain flour. Also 4 teaspoons of brown sugar. 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, salt you can do what you want with, especially if you're going to use salted seeds. You don't need to put a lot of salt in because those seeds are pretty damn salty. The next thing you need is 4 teaspoons or just less than 1/3 of a cup of oil. Vegetable oil, any kind of oil. I use vegetable because it's better, okay? The best is sunflower. If you use sunflower oil, it's a little more pure. And that's it. Then all we have to do is stir it all. First, sort of mix the top so that all the salt and sugar doesn't go into one area. So you just mix the top so that it mixes. Then you can mix it all in nice. Now, this is not a no-knead bread. We are going to have to knead this a little to get it together. Okay? A lot of my projects are no-knead, which means you don't need to kill it to get it all together. And like I always say, the reason I use a little more water is because you never know what's going to happen because flours are different, okay? Some flour takes a little less water, some take more, but you don't want a tough dough. You want a soft dough, and that's what we're making today. So this will be an easy bread also. If I get my assistant to get me the spatula, I forgot it. Thank you. All you get to see is an arm. But she's a lovely assistant. Then you scrape everything off. Now, let me clean up this mess, get everything out of the way, and you put a little flour on the table, just a bit, and in your hands, and then dump it out. Make sure all the flour and everything comes out. Then you do the old kneading, okay? And it's just till the bread comes together. The same thing. You don't have to knead it till the cows come home, but you do have to knead it. And then once it starts to stick, just put a little more, and I mean a little. You don't want to start adding a lot of flour to your bread, okay? You want it to be kneaded. You want it to be soft. And to do that, instead of putting just put some on your hands where the dough has stuck. Then it creates a little, so you can go like this. So it's much easier. Okay, make sure you get all the seeds. Just for about a minute or so. Just till you see it's not sticky anymore. And you don't need any more flour to knead it. Now, some people knead it, they stretch it and bleh. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. Just put it back and just go like this. Bring your hand in, over. It's nice and simple, okay? Then you just keep kneading it till all that sticky dough that was on your hands starts to come off. Then you know that the dough is almost ready. So that took about 2 minutes, and that's pretty well it. Okie dokie. Artichoke. So, now you can either put it back in the bowl. I like to just leave it on the table, and I will cover it up for about 40 minutes to an hour until it doubles in size. Okay, and once it does that, we will be back, and I will show you what we do with it after that. Now we are back. So now we are going to finish forming the bread, and then it'll sit another 30 to 40 minutes in the pan. So it's very simple. As you can see, it's double in size and it's nice and proofed. Okay? So all you do is you flatten it out. Nice. Stretch it a little. Then you bring this edge to the middle, like so. And pull the ends out so the bread looks square. Then you bring this one over top of that one. You press it down so there's not a lot of air in between, but don't flatten it right down. You don't want all the air to leave. Then you just start rolling, like so. Just tuck it in and roll, and then stretch it out until you have something that looks like that. Nice loaf of bread. See the seam? There should always be a seam. So the seam should be on the bottom of the pan, which we're going to spray right now. And the seam sits on like so, on the bottom. So now we are going to cover this again and let it proof until it is up over the pan. Okay? So we will be back once this is proofed and ready. So we're back. Now, the bread should be ready to go in the oven. See? Beautiful. Nice loaf of bread. So what we're going to do now is just take some water brush it on with a nice brush, not those plastic things. Now, you don't have to do this, but my wife likes seeds. So then you put seeds. If you put these seeds in the bread, it's not very good because people will start eating it, and some of those little seeds, they don't realize it. Excuse me. Next thing you know, they're breaking their teeth. Anyways, so it goes in the oven at 390 for about 30 to 40 minutes. Depends on how crusty or how dark you like it. So we are going to put it in the oven. Before we do that, I would like to say hello, hola, to our friends in Colombia. We are starting to get more and more people from Colombia and a lot of Spanish customers, which is fine, viewers. And we are starting to dub it in Spanish also. Anyways, hola, and let's get this in the oven. And when it's done, I will finish up our ending. Thank you. So the bread has now baked for about 35 minutes, and it looks pretty good. Some of the seeds will fall off. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful loaf of bread. Okay. And there you have it. A nice 12-grain loaf of bread. So, like I said, Valentine's Day is coming up. I was thinking about trying to do something for Valentine's Day, but who knows? But like I said in my other post, don't be stupid. Go and take your wife or your girlfriend out for supper the day before or the day after. Probably the day before. Meals will be a third cheaper. Flowers are still $25 a dozen instead of $125 a dozen. And chocolates, holy shit, I don't even want to talk about those. But anyway, well, there goes my buzzer. So I guess my time is up. Anyways, this is the Grumpy Baker saying stop loafing around and see you next week.